And here we wait. First things first, can I just check that the sound is all right for everyone? If someone could just comment whether the mic's set up well. I've been trying to change the settings a little bit on this one. So just let me know if the sound is good before I go through the whole video and everyone's like, I know the feeling. Actually, it's a little bit funny for me. Welcome everyone. This is my first live in 2 years. 2 years. I'm gonna have to turn the gains down on this one. I hope it still sounds all right. Yeah, the sound is weird. I'm sorry. Some people are like, it's good. I hear you. I may have to double check. Input gain. This one should be better, I hope. Have I just turned it all off? We have a interesting variety of tech problems. It's kind of cutting in and out for me. This is a little bit annoying, isn't it? It seems to be all or nothing. Gosh, what's going on? I actually did almost wang the whole mic off. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. Yeah, we have an interesting variety of tech problems on this channel because it's actually quite complicated to set up a live. So I apologize, and I will try and speak clearly so that the mic isn't too annoying. It's just a bit annoying because it's a good mic and I can never seem to get it to work. Welcome everyone. Yeah, I haven't done a live for 2 years. The last live I did was before I got pregnant, and then I couldn't do lives anymore because I was too busy throwing up or being asleep. And then I had a baby and I really didn't want to do lives anymore. So I just feel like, it was time to come and chat to you all and do some Q&As because I think people like that. It's like me trying to guess. What do I think people like? I don't know. And tell you about my book, which I'm going to try not to have an annoying reflection. Let's see if I can actually get it up close. Yeah, it is a fully printed book. I didn't print them myself. I have done it through Amazon Print on Demand, which was by far the easiest and the easiest way of doing it for me, but also the way that I could reach the most people internationally. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm based in the Netherlands. Most of my audience is in America, I think, USA, and some in the UK, and then a variety all around the world. So I wanted to make sure that it was going to be available for as many people as possible. So I'm trying to, this is really, this has reminded me of why I stopped doing lives. It's really hard, by the way, to talk and also keep up with the chat. I have my excellent moderator, Anna, who is hopefully going to moderate any bad comments, but I've put the settings on a little bit stricter, so hopefully we shouldn't have too much nonsense in the comments. Thank you all for your support so far and all your nice comments about the book. I started it in February and then worked on it really like an intense ADHD thing, hyper focus, and finished about 60% of it in a couple of weeks. And then I hated it. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I took some months off and then I just pushed through. I pushed through September, October, and to get it out for people to buy around Christmas time, Black Friday. I don't really like this whole commercial thing, but as someone who's trying to sell something, I feel like it probably is okay that I try and do that. I am much better at creating things than trying to convince you to buy them. Blue collar, I would say Blue Collar Jose would be the way that I would pronounce that. Is there a link to the book? There is a link that's pinned at the top, and some people can get it and some people can't get it, apparently. So I have in the individual countries. So if you do want a link, some people seem to have no problem. So if you do want a link for a particular region that you don't know if it's there, it probably is, unless you're in Brazil, because I don't know why. Amazon automatically published it to a variety of countries, including the US, UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Poland, Sweden, and Japan. But when it came to Brazil, it was like, no, not going to do that. So Anna, who's the moderator and has been working with me for a couple of years now, is actually working on a Portuguese version. So we're going to attempt to do that through the Brazilian Amazon site. So that's kind of a project on the go. Not sure when it's going to be finished. Anna says, not in Brazil because it's my country. Haha. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to just post a couple of links. If you could say what region you want the link for, that would be really good. I'm going to assume US. That's the US link. It should be in the chat now. So, yeah, it's really hard to keep. I've got like a million windows open. How many chats? That link won't work for me. I hope so. This is the fancy little feature I have here. Chat and talking is hard. I can so relate. It's really hard, and it's really hard when there's like people going boom, 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 and you're also trying to copy and paste links. I'm doing the best I can. I'm not. I'm better at scripting and recording and editing, and then editing everything than being live. But I'm trying my hardest. So let's talk about the book, because that's probably what you're interested in. It is full Technicolor. I did have an idea to do a lower sensory version, but when I actually got it, I was like, this isn't actually too bad. But please do let me know if you would be interested in a kind of toned down version, because this is kind of how it is. But I wanted to make it really pretty and fun to use, because so much surrounding autism is so medical and drab, and I wanted to bring a little bit of joy to the whole process. So yeah, it's kind of like rainbow galaxies all the way through. And let me just try and find a page that is going to show you. So there is some information in it. It's not just a workbook. It's got some information as well, talking through a little bit about autism, and mainly talking through the diagnostic criteria, and then including journal prompts to guide you to trying to make sense of that big whole mess of crap in your head that happens when you realize, I think I might be autistic. That's why the book is called So You Think You're Autistic. And it's like, what next? The subtitle is a workbook for the confused person who's just trying to figure things out. So hopefully that's reasonably self-explanatory. It's not necessarily just for people pre-diagnosis. It could be someone who doesn't want a diagnosis, or someone going through the process, or even when you've got a diagnosis. Sometimes you don't always leave much clearer about what just happened. So there's information as well as sections to fill in. It is the most premium paper that Amazon Print on Demand offers. So it should be, pretty nice to write on. Actually, that's a point. This is where I admit I haven't written in my book. Been so busy doing everything around it, I haven't actually written in it. But it's the highest quality paper, so it should be nice to write on. And so the idea is that you work through it reasonably in this order, in regular book order. Does that even mean in this order? It starts off by let me just see. Social interaction. That's where we start. We start talking about social interaction. And it goes through the diagnostic criteria, but in a more accessible, more easy to understand kind of manner. And it's open-ended. So the idea is not that you fill something in, you get a tick mark, and at the end it says, well, then I think you're autistic. The book will not diagnose you, but it's more about trying to get things straight in your own head about all of your traits and maybe some things from childhood and stuff like that. After the sort of diagnostic section, I've got a section on imposter syndrome, which I think for late diagnosed adults is a really big thing. And certainly for me, even 4 years after my diagnosis, with a channel where I talk about autism all the time, I still have thoughts where I'm like, what if I'm not really autistic? What if I tricked everybody somehow into believing this, including the person who diagnosed me? Um, so I thought that was an important thing to address. There's a section on masking. There's a section on diagnosis. Like, do you want a diagnosis? What would it mean to you? Would it be beneficial? Would it not be? Because it could not be. And talking to others. How do you talk to other people about not just your diagnosis, but about the idea that you might be autistic? Because it's a really difficult thing to talk about. So that was a really brief run through of what's in the book. Let me see if I can try and catch up on the chats. This is the hard part where I have to read and also not make a silly face. And see if I can. Oh, it's Ponderful. Please subscribe to Ponderful's channel. I absolutely love what you do. I'm so excited about your workbook. I'm excited to have you here. This is the embarrassing thing where I'm like, I remember your YouTube name, but not your actual name as a human being. Really sorry. We should be in touch again. This is like, God. This is where I embarrass myself as much as possible. I'm gonna try and just pick out a few comments here because it's really overwhelming to get loads of comments. Suan Van Galen says, that's an amazing accomplishment to write a book with 2 small children in the house. Yeah, I hyper-focused very much, and I've just had to learn to use my time in a really intensively focused way. And I think that is the point where I'm like, I cannot actually relax anymore because I just have to be like, shh, shh, shh. Means I don't know what that means, sorry, but thank you. The 2 small children are not in the house all the time anymore. I do have some childcare now, which has really helped, which is why I've got I've got so many more videos coming out and recent videos and stuff like that, because I can actually now get back to a little bit of a schedule. Probably twice a month is going to be the baseline that I'm aiming for. So thank you, Suan. Let me just see. Rootwitch Queen, I like your name. Please do your best and don't stress too much about it. You're doing great. I don't know how many of you have been subscribers for a couple of years, but when I used to do lives, I would always be a bit like, this is going to be so chill. This is going to be really, really chill. It's just going to be like a relaxing kind of chill thing. And it never was. It was always super intense and I got really worked up. So I'm not going to advertise it as chill. I'm just going to be like, I am not a chill person. You know, yeah, I try not to stress about these things, but it's very nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking doing this live. So somebody's said it's temporarily out of stock for, what is IOM at Amazon? IOM, what could that be? Isle of Man? Maybe. Do they have a separate Amazon? Yeah, some of the locations and some of the links temporarily out of stock. Just check back again. I have absolutely no control over this. I literally upload it to Amazon, and then Amazon is like, you know, we'll take care of this, and we'll also take all of your money, mostly. So, yeah, I would like to have not necessarily supported Amazon, but there's not really a great deal of choice. This is like where it becomes this huge moral conundrum. But essentially, yeah, there are still some issues that Amazon are working out. So do check back if you would like to. Bethany, I think you said you got your copy already. I saw in a comment you said, I think it's so lovely in person, not overstimulating. That's kind of what I thought. When I was working with it on the screen, I was like, wow, it was like so saturated, so bright. And then I got it. I'm like, okay, I didn't think it was that bad, but I'm still open to people saying that it's too much or they can't read it. That'd be really interesting to know how readable it is for people. And I am definitely open to doing a low sensory version if people want it. So thank you, Bethany. um, Oh, another one from Root Witch Queen. I like the colorful nature of the book. I'm just picking out comments that I agree with now, isn't that confirmation bias? The galaxy print. It's very galaxy. Let me see if I can. Blue collar. Jose, thank you for the Amazon link. Just ordered it. Should be here Sunday. Thank you so much. I just I started sharing on my social media this morning, and I was having a massive anxiety sort of say anxiety attack. I was just anxious the whole day, checking the reports, being like, nobody's ordering. Literally nobody's ordering. No one's ordering. And then I start getting messages saying, I've just ordered. I'm like, oh, it's probably going to take a while to update. But I literally was just like, it's crickets. I've done this. I've spent all this time and no one's going to buy it. So I really, really appreciate everyone who does buy it. And I would love to hear feedback as well. I think you can find my email address somewhere. I can't put it up on screen. It's hello@yosamdsam.com. If you have any feedback, I would love to hear it, especially if there's something that maybe you wished was included and was not, because there's always a version 2 that I can do. So let's try and find another few comments. Arash Arfazada. Really sorry. It's really, really hard to pronounce so many different names when you're live. It's like the pressure, like I can't read. And then you get more stressed about it because you're like, that's really insulting. I don't want to embarrass this person. I'm sorry. I'll just call you Arash. Have you ever spoken on the idea of having a sensory diet? I haven't talked about it. But it is something that I am quite interested in since I started taking my kids to the physio for basically sort of it's occupational therapy slash sensory therapy. I've become a lot more interested in the sensory processing aspects of it. So it's definitely something that's been on my mind a lot more through the course of this year, trying to incorporate also sensory things for me, which the physio, she's really great. She actually, because she knows that I'm autistic, so she said, this isn't just for kids, the stuff that she does with my son. She said, you should be trying to find this stuff out as well, because that's something that if you're diagnosed as an adult, you don't ever get anyone doing occupational therapy with you or sensory therapy unless there's a particular problem. So I actually read a book. I don't have it to hand. It's called Living Sensationally by a woman called Winnie Dunn. I don't know if she's a doctor or not. And it's a really fantastic book. You can find it online. And it's basically about understanding your senses and, more importantly, finding out your own profile, but also the sensory profile of your partner or of your kids and how to make that work. So it's a really interesting area. Excuse me, I am actually nursing a little bit of a cold at the moment. So yeah, no, it's something that I am quite interested in and would like to do something on in the future. This is like, is this Michael, but like Freikel or Frikael? I'm not sure. I get really embarrassed because at some point I will offend somebody being like, why can't you just pronounce my name? But it could be Freikel or it could be Frikael. So whichever one. I wanted to say thank you. It's because of your videos that I realized how I felt all these years was something else. And I went to my GP and I've been referred for ASD and ADHD assessments. Well, thank you. That's very kind. And it's actually comments like these that inspired me to write the workbook in the first place, because I would get a lot of comments. And I think the general thing was just confusion. People aren't being taken care of properly after diagnosis or before diagnosis, and you don't really know what to do with yourself while you're waiting. And I went in for my assessment with, I think, a 7-page Google Doc. I think apparently that's quite common. I went to see Hannah Gadsby at the weekend in Amsterdam, and that was really awesome. And she said something about she went in to her assessment with a huge document of all her traits. And I was sitting there laughing because it was so relatable. And that was the bit where people weren't laughing so much at. And then she said, I also went in with a document about possums, but that's. So I just noticed that, it's really hard when you're sat there, like, I've found all this stuff online. I think I'm autistic, but what do I do now? And do I know if this is really real? Is this really an autistic trait? So what inspired me was all of you messaging me and commenting and emailing and saying how lost you felt. And I thought, well, let's do something about that. So it was really a labor of love. It was so much fun to make as well. I loved it. I want to do another one. So yeah, let's do another flick through. Yeah. You can see there's a mixture of information and space to write. I also have a glossary at the back full of useful terms that maybe you don't know about. A couple of resources. I think by the time I got to the resources page, though, I was probably a bit done. And then a little bit of an intro, and also a link to my Discord channel for those of you who would like to. Sorry, Discord server for those of you who'd like to join that. If you buy the book, you get the link to that. So let's have a look. Is your full author's name Samantha Stein? Just making sure I found the correct book. Yes, it is. That is my name. That is my author's name, and that is my name. Let's see what else I can. Armand number 1 says, I sent a super chat, but it's not appearing. Oh no. I'm not sure. I don't see it. I'm sorry about that. I don't actually see anything. But thank you for the sentiment, Armand number 1. I love your names. They're all great. Yeah, somebody asked about an ebook. That is something that I have been trying to work on. Obviously, I've been focused on finishing the workbook itself. I do want to release it as something digital, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that. The main problem is that I'd want it to be an ebook that you can either write on or fill in, which I don't think you can actually sell through Amazon. And if you sell it through your own website, you then become liable to collect tax from every country that you sell to. So if somebody from Australia bought my book, I would need to collect the correct sales tax for the Australian government and then presumably at some point pay it to them. I have no idea how to do that. But it is on the cards, and I would like to try and get that done. It's really about figuring out tax. I hate tax so much, and it confuses me. So yeah. More people who Jupiter doll. Just placed my order. Should be here Monday, along with some loose leaf teas. Yes, I feel like I need some loose leaf teas for my throat. So thank you. Sue Ann says, where can we send our feedback? My email address is hello@yosamdsam.com. I'm just trying to think. You can also DM me on Instagram. I do try and check. I have kind of a restricted thing on Instagram, but I do try and check the message requests relatively often. Rockstar Spud says, what was the name of that book? I think you're talking about the sensory book, which is called Living Sensationally by Winnie Dunn. Let's see if I can, let me put it in the chat. Living Sensationally by Winnie, not three hands, Winnie. Okay. Highly recommend it. Really useful if there's more than one neurodivergent person in the household. Really useful. This person, Blue Stocking Jules, says, I really want to order, but I'm not out to my family as self-diagnosed ADHD, and we all use my dad's Amazon Prime account, so they will see whatever I buy. Not sure what to do. Yeah, that's a tough one. I was trying to think of some like tricky workaround. Not sure about that one. Does anyone else have any suggestions about that? I'm not sure about how to solve that one, actually. People sometimes ask me questions about dealing with family and talking to family and friends and social situations. And I think it's very flattering that people think that I might have the answer. I actually get very nervous when people ask me advice because I don't want to mess up their lives. Oh, you want a new link? The link in the pinned comment does not work. I'll just send another one to US link. I do have sorry, you can hear my throat is starting to go now that I'm talking. I'm going to try and keep this live relatively short because some of the other lives ended up going on for a couple of hours, some of them. And so I said, okay, I've got a bit of a sore throat. So, you know, I'll keep it, I think 45 minutes. So I've got another 15 minutes or something like that. Okay. Maria says, hi, I recently started to follow you. I have one question because I know you don't live in the UK, but could you tell me which country you were diagnosed? I was diagnosed in the Netherlands. That is, it was a relatively, I'm trying to say two words at once. It was a relatively positive experience, I will say. I think the Netherlands is one of the better countries for this sort of thing. I think my waiting list was about 4 months, which is quite good in the grand scheme of things. And I had three sessions for the assessment that were 2 or 3 hours each or something like that. I don't remember actually. I think it was 3 sessions of 2 hours. And by the end of the second session, she was like, well, it's a very clear diagnosis to make. And I'm like, really? I actually thought I'd have to do more convincing. And then that made me a little bit paranoid. I'm like, oh, am I really not that good at masking? Oops. Yeah, so the Netherlands also has a really great system where after your diagnosis, you are entitled to what do they call it? Oh my gosh, what's it called? Psychosocial education. I actually don't know. It's some basically a sort of module that you can do to learn more about autism, but also how it affects you and come to terms with things. So that's really great. And also the benefit of living in the Netherlands is that you get an autism coach. You with a diagnosis, you are entitled to a coach, and mine just left actually. And I was just like, do you like my book? Do you like my book? She did. She was so proud. So that's really, like, I don't know of any other country that does that. It's really, really huge thing. So I do quite like living in the Netherlands at the moment. Yes. Rockstar Spud. I first thought I might be autistic after getting treatment for an eating disorder, and I have been waiting for over 2 years for my assessment. Wait times are really long. Your videos have helped me understand and cope with the wait. Thank you. I completely get overwhelmed every time people tell me how much I've helped them, because I actually do videos and I feel like I just talk about myself all the time, and everyone tells me that that helps them. So I try and get that balance of not just talking about my own experience, but trying to make further comments on neurodivergence as a whole, but hopefully I get the balance right. And I'm just glad that I'm glad I'm helping people. Um, Becky H, I missed the beginning. Hope I didn't miss much. Oh, you missed a lot, Becky. Um, what you probably missed was me actually showing off the book and flicking through it, showing the amazing Technicolor Dream book, and talking about all the different sections, the exciting sections contained in the book. Actually, instead of saying sections, I could probably just point you to the direction of the contents. Yeah, like anyone's going to be able to read this. Oh, no. Oh. Yeah, you could take a screenshot. That's the contents. So yeah, I've been talking about the book and a little bit about the inspiration behind the book. And just sort of trying to keep up with all the comments. So I don't know if the link is working for people. It's a bit disappointing because I tried to find a link that would automatically direct you to the correct link for your location, but clearly that hasn't worked. Shall I try sending it again in chat? Let's see that it works. I thought I got it right. I actually tested this link out with several people in different geographical locations, and it seemed to work, apart from for Brazil. So we'll try sending that one. Let's send the Australian link, if there's any Australians here. Oh, the awful VAT for digital services thing. It does make things so difficult. My sympathy. Yes. If anyone knows about if there's any easy solution, please do let me know, because it's dreadful. It's like you want to sell a digital product and you have to be registered in every country in the world. If you want to sell in every country in the world, it's a complete nightmare. But I've got plans to try and make this as accessible for people as I can. And so I'm definitely willing to kind of think about different ways that I can make things available for people. Aisha Washington says, would you recommend this for teenagers, or is it primarily for adults? Or is it primarily for adults? I don't see any reason why teenagers couldn't use it. With younger teens, I'd probably say maybe with help from their parents, depending on the relationship with your parents, of course. But I don't really see any reason why teenagers couldn't use it. It's written in quite a sort of, dare I say, chummy way. It's written as if I'm a friend who's talking you through things, and you've come to me and you're like, I think I'm autistic, but I don't know what to do about it. And it's me being like, don't worry, we'll sort it out. So I would say that there's no reason why a teen couldn't use this. I've tried to make it as clear as possible. I'm sure I don't know if I've missed the mark on any point. It's a bit of a stab in the dark. Is that the correct one? Yeah. So yeah, there's no reason why teenagers couldn't use it, only that when we look back on your childhood, it's a lot closer and a lot easier to remember than me thinking, what happened when I was a child? Don't remember. Let me see. Just trying to see how much the Jim Williams says, joined late. At this point, I feel I am clearly ADHD and have many autistic traits, but maybe not enough for DSM. Do you think the workbook is a fit for that? I mean, I always feel when people are like, oh, do you think it would be suitable? I'm sort of like, yeah, totally suitable. Yeah. But I think in this case, absolutely. I think it's a really with the autism and ADHD thing, the crossover is so much. And then thinking, okay, for me, it was the other way round. I was diagnosed with autism, and then I'm like, okay, how much of this extra is ADHD, and where does the line draw? But I think it would also work the other way round. Um, there's a lot of information or maybe misinformation online about ADHD, and I think that this new rise of sort of like TikTok content creators, people saying this is an ADHD thing, this is an ADHD thing, and I'm like, are you sure you just haven't yet got your autism diagnosis thing yet? But that's that. Never mind that. Um, I would say that I would actually say that it will be perfect for you because it will go through the autistic stuff and then you can see, okay, well, it doesn't really quite fit me, and the stuff that does fit me, that's ADHD. So it might be a way to work through it. That's all I can say. But yeah, I actually do say in the book, of course, the person who sold you this book is going to tell you that you need it. It's quite funny, if I say so myself. I'm sorry, you know me, I do find myself funny. Um, thank you so much for all your nice comments, people saying you've ordered it, it's in your cart. I really appreciate that. And I just really appreciate your support. I'm so glad that just so glad you like it. It's really nerve-wracking doing this. It's something new, isn't it? Oh, this is a good idea. Regarding the person on the joint Amazon family account, I'm ordering it for a friend. Might be a good cover for ordering on a joint account. Great idea. I didn't think of that. Clearly, I'm not sneaky enough. Yeah, it's a Christmas present for a friend. Perfect. um, Right. People have got loads of helpful comments. Get a friend to order it to their house, get a local bookshop to order it and buy from them. I mean, this is all just, you know, you don't have to buy it. If you feel like your family are going to react badly, then don't. But I appreciate all the helpful comments. Paula asks, did you go to an expertise center kind of thing or to the general mental health care service? I was diagnosed at a very small clinic where I think there is one diagnostician and possibly one other psychologist working there. So I think there's only two of them. And she specializes in diagnostics. That's it. She doesn't do treatment or anything like that. So that's kind of her thing. And I guess it would be an expertise center kind of thing. Most people probably get diagnosed in larger centers. I hope that answers your question. People asking me where I was diagnosed. I feel like that is confidential medical information. I mean, like I say, it's a small place. Yeah. I also, I've directed a couple of people there, and I'm very aware that I don't want to like bombard this woman because it's just her. I don't want to bombard this woman. So I'm on the waiting. Oh, sorry, let's put it on the screen. I'm on the waiting list after ADHD Central told me I might not have ADHD but autism instead. Yeah, I've heard some interesting things about that that place. But I don't think that me sending where I was diagnosed is going to be super helpful. This is like I don't want to tell. Oh, I'm sorry. It's getting to the end of the day. I'm starting to get a little bit tired. Heather says hello from Canada. Hello. Oh, it's time to put the Canadian link up. Let's try. I don't know why so many people are getting invalid links. It's a bit disappointing, isn't it? What I'm going to do is once the live stream is over, I'm going to put all the separate country links in the description box below, so you can come back and actually get the correct links. But I've just posted the Canadian link, and there's so many Canadians here. Hello. I've just seen a super chat from Ponderful. I can't put it up on the screen because otherwise I'll lose my place. Thank you so much, Ponderful. That's really kind of you. And a super chat from Jaden. Thank you. Yeah, people talking about waiting times. It's really terrible, the waiting times worldwide in every country apart from perhaps the Netherlands. I cannot imagine waiting 3 years for a diagnosis. What do you do in that time? Sit on your twiddle your thumbs or something. That's why I was motivated to create this, is to kind of fill that gap. Because, you know, regardless of whether you don't just turn autistic at the moment you get your diagnosis, and that's something that people who are very critical of self-diagnosis don't seem to understand, is that as an adult, you almost always have to self-diagnose before you can get a professional to diagnose you. And there is a period of limbo that is very difficult, actually. Jamie says, never would have guessed you're from the Netherlands. Your English is so good. I'm actually a native English speaker. I got out of the UK in 2013. Just decided that we didn't like living in London anymore and we couldn't see a future for us. So me and my husband legged it over across the border and thought we'll go there for 6 months. And almost 10 years later, here we are. They can't get rid of us now. Legally, they cannot get rid of us. So yeah, I live in the Netherlands. I am born and raised in the UK. I'm just trying to catch up with the comments and stuff like that. Oh, thank you. Another super chat. Oh my gosh. Do you have to learn to speak Dutch in order to get by in the Netherlands, or is English enough? If you live in the Randstad area, which I do, which is the area that incorporates the larger cities, Den Haag, Amsterdam, what's the other one? Rotterdam, that the really sort of populous area, you can get away with English. In Amsterdam, English is actually the official second language, and 60% of people living in Amsterdam are not Dutch. Extremely international area. I don't live in Amsterdam. I live in the suburbs. Not the suburbs of Amsterdam, but I live in a small town, small Dutch town. There are some expats here, but I am very glad that I can speak Dutch. And at the moment, I'm using Dutch an awful lot because I'm using Dutch with talking to them school stuff. Sometimes they'll talk to me in English, but school stuff and at the physio. And I'm using Dutch a lot more now that I've got a kid in school than I was. So I think if you are living somewhere, it really makes sense to learn the language, at least to a kind of conversational level. Having said that, Dutch isn't an easy language to learn. As an English speaker, it's kind of gets stuck in your throat a little bit. Present sore throat excluded, of course. But it's quite a guttural sounding language compared to German, which is all in the front of your mouth. It's really precise, and I like speaking German because you can be really, really tense and still speak German, whereas with Dutch, you actually have to relax your throat before you can even say good morning to people. So, I really like languages. Dutch is not my second language. Dutch is like my fourth language. I've learned French and German, and I know a little bit of some other languages. So Dutch was the last one. So it's a bit harder to make it stick as you get older. And once you've got a few more languages in there, you just end up getting confused all the time. But if you're in the big cities, English is pretty much enough. It really depends on how integrated into society you want to be. Okay, people saying the link worked. Thank you. I'm so glad the link worked. Oh, this is interesting. Heather says, I was officially diagnosed with ADHD during that appointment, but it was told that all my other symptoms were just social anxiety, even though I was not anxious. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you can also be autistic and anxious. You can be everything and anxious, just because you're anxious doesn't mean that there's not a reason why you're anxious. Yeah. I'm sorry, you seem to have had kind of a hard time with that diagnosis. I saw a couple of comments earlier. So hey, at least you got your ADHD diagnosis. That's all I'll say. Like Rockstar Spud. I'm just going to read a few more comments, and then it's probably time to just go through a little bit of the book again for people who just joined, and then maybe call it a day. Because I will need to pick my daughter up from daycare soon. It's 4:45 here. I bought a Lydia Wilkins autism-friendly cookbook, and now I have your book and the sensory book you spoke of in my basket. I've started to get a bit of autism library. Fun fact, I'm actually in the autism-friendly cookbook as well. I contributed a recipe for that. So that's a fun fact. But I don't get any money for that. So just to support Lydia, because she's awesome. And she's worked really hard on this book as well. And I think it's a really interesting idea, the cookbook stuff. So, yeah. Catherine says, how exciting. Just came across the stream. Your videos have helped me a ton, and I recommend them all the time. Thank you so much, Catherine G. Can't wait to read and recommend the new book. Thank you. Do you consider making videos about Dutch culture? I've seen Dutch people in the comments, and they get pretty aggressive when an outsider talks about their culture. So maybe not. I don't know. I think it's interesting to live in a foreign country as an autistic person. That is something that is apparently one of the things about masking, probably among more privileged autistic people who can travel to a different country. But it's quite a common thing that will move country and fit in a little bit better. So maybe there's something there about living abroad as an autistic person, kind of is a form of masking. Because if someone thinks, oh, she's a bit weird, isn't she? You're like, haha, it's because I'm British, and so on. You can use that same kind of idea. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do something like that. It's an interesting idea. Let me go down. Oh, this is a fantastic one. I was told by my first doctor I couldn't be autistic/ADHD because I did well in school, and a lot of women are anxious. It's normal. Is it though? Is it? Or is it you see a lot of autistic women who are super anxious and they come to you because they're hoping that you can help them? I don't know. Diagnosticians or psychologists are very hit and miss. I'm not going to say that they're all terrible. I've met a lot of really great ones. But I've heard some horrible stories from many of you. How many minutes behind am I on the comments? I'm many. I am many. Jim says, I found the book easily, just going in the front door at Amazon. Does that mean I'm trending? I don't know what that means, going in the front door at Amazon. Is that like maybe there's a shop? I don't know. I hope that the Canadians have been able to Someone says, have you heard of the book? It's split into two comments. Autism in Heels by Jennifer Cook O'Toole. I've heard of it. I haven't read it, actually. There's quite a lot of memoirs, is that, am I even saying that right? By late diagnosed autistic women. There's sort of quite a few of them now. But I probably will get around to reading it at some point now that I have a bit of time. I'm not working on this one. But I've had other people recommend it. Hello from Luxembourg. Mataza Arif says, helpful advice. People feel they are autistic but don't get the diagnosis, probably are not able to give enough info about their childhood. I know many people are frustrated about this. Yeah, it's there is a part of the diagnostic process which asks about your childhood. My mum filled in a form for me, and luckily I had a really good diagnostician, but my mum didn't have much to fill in. She basically said, I remember having to sew linings into your wool jumpers, sew sleeves into them because I was itching around, and then the very restrictive sort of food thing. She said, but your brother. I'm like, no, this is about me. We're talking about me now. So yeah, for people who either don't have parents in their lives or just don't remember, it can be really difficult to know, was this around in your childhood? There is a little section in the workbook about that, but it's more about just trying to prompt you to remember stuff from your childhood, because even if it's not from someone else, the more information you can give them about childhood, the easier it will be for them to kind of piece it all together. Um, people are talking about the Netherlands. I visited Amsterdam and didn't have any language barriers. Yeah, if you go to Amsterdam, you try to speak Dutch, you probably won't get very far, because whoever you're talking to probably won't speak Dutch. So I'm desperately trying to catch up. Oak Kitten, do you happen to know of any psychologists specializing in autism in or around North Holland? Looking at the diagnose. Okay, so you're in North Holland. So if you just send me an email, hello at Sam, I'll just put it in the text. I cannot reply to everybody's emails, but if you do have, here's this Oak Kitten. Yeah, I can't even put it in the thing because it's tagging me. That's the email address. Just get in touch and I will. I think I do know a couple. This is me. Wait, this is me after having said no. I won't share that with. I don't know what I'm doing today. I'm sorry. I'm starting to get really tired. The other person, whoever asked me, also you can email me and I will. I'll share whatever I've got with you. The first time I heard Dutch spoken, I thought it sounded like trying to speak German with a mouthful of peanut butter. I always think it's like a drunk Brit trying to speak German. That's how Dutch sounded to me. I just see on the chat Anna's trying to put my email and it's not working either. It's just tagging me in it. Okay, I am going to. Oh my gosh, Rockstar Spud. I'm also in the cookbook. That's awesome. I don't know who you are, but that's exciting. Okay, I'm going to try and get to the end of the comments now before I'll just get to the super chat. Chris. Thank you, Chris. That's really sweet. Thank you very much. Jim says, go straight to Amazon.com, typing in, so you think you're autistic in the search field. Yes, that is the way that you find it. You go to Amazon, you type in, so you think you're autistic. If the links are not working, that's how we do it. So let's just, I'm just gonna give another last little look for this. It is, it's a glossy cover. I decided to go for glossy rather than matte. You can, I mean, I could have gone for hardback, but then the cost would have been absolutely prohibitive. It is beautiful. It is colorful. It's got spaces to write. It's got information. I just really hope you'll like it. Everyone's ordered it now, and I'm just waiting for everyone to say this is terrible. I've had a lot of people read it, and nobody's told me it's terrible. So I'm just really hoping that you will all get value out of it. I'm just gonna go down. See if I can get to the end of the chat. I got to the end of the chat. Yay. Thank you so much, everyone, for your excellent participation. And I don't know, I feel like maybe I'll do a couple more lives because they're quite fun. They're extremely anxiety provoking, but quite fun. Yeah, and I'd love to hear feedback. I don't know if we've actually managed to get my email address in the chat at this point, but I really, really appreciate all your nice comments and your support. It means so much to me. Like I said, I've been sort of working on this, more or less, I would say half of the year, like 3 months here and 3 months here. So it's a really big deal. And thank you for your support. And I will be back in a couple of weeks. I've got 2 videos planned before Christmas. One of them is going to be, I say this very promisingly, one of them is going to be a Gilmore Girls video. I'm finally doing it. I'm finally doing the Gilmore Girls entirely neurodivergent video. So that's something to look forward to. That's probably going to be released right before Christmas. And then there'll be another one in the meantime. And also some extra content for members that I'm so behind on, and I'm really, really sorry. I really appreciate my members, and I'm just like, I'm really behind. A couple of interviews for you. Yeah, I will do better. I will do better. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much. Just like, how many times can I say thank you? And see you later. Bye.